My goal is just to get one photo today. Isn't that what we all set off trying to do? Have this vision in our head of some amazing shot we're going to take. I'm continuing on my black and white fine art landscape photography journey, and today we're heading for a waterfall. Anybody who saw my video last week is I tried to take something a little bit more intimate, and today I want to move back a bit. I try and take something from slightly further away, so a bit more of a scene. One of the lessons I've really learned from starting this exercise is what you need to look for is scenes within a scene. You know, if you're going to take something that is a bit different, isn't the cliche shot that everybody else takes, you've got to have your own personal take on it. You've got to look for something different. And that's my goal today. I got my inspiration from, you might have guessed it, looking at Huivo Hu's photos, particularly our waterfall shots in Iceland. Now, I've been to Iceland and I've taken lots of shots of waterfalls. The place is abundant with waterfalls, but I didn't really get many that were different to anybody else's, but she did. And so that's what we're going to try and do today. So I'm headed for a place called Stockghyll Force. There's a waterfall that's just literally on the edge of Ambleside. So I'm just walking up to that now. I think the waterfall's about 70-foot drop. We've had a lot of rain, so I'm sure it'll be pretty full and should make for quite a dramatic scene. It's a bit of a wet and miserable day, so waterfalls are an obvious subject for these kind of weather conditions. But the other thing, I mentioned this last week, a quote from Sarah Marino was, don't accept limitations, seize the opportunities. And that's what I'm trying to do today, really. And the other thing I wanted to do is, especially with this channel, is, you know, I know most of my audience are probably over 45, and we've got to a stage where, you know, life often gets in the way of pursuing your hobbies. So you've got to try and make it easy. And that's what I aim to do with this, show you that you can get out and take photographs any time of day. You don't need to bring a lot of gear. Let me just try and show you what I'm carrying today. So literally, I've just got a sling bag. I've got one camera, one lens. I've set it up for putting ND filters on, and I've got a tripod because I know I'm going to want to do some long exposures. So let me show you where we've arrived. First thing is I'm going to do, just have a scout around and see what my best location is going to be. So that viewing platform was definitely one option. There's another one a bit lower down here which we'll check out. This one looks to have something that I'm aiming for. There's also a footbridge right up on the top. I'll have a walk up to that. There's a tree halfway up as well I'm quite interested in. Another path on the other side there. Just wondering how I get round to that. Probably from this footbridge up on the top. That might give me a nice option to take a picture of this log that's kind of trapped. Coming up on this footbridge at the top. It always amazes me how people think that a sign put in the middle of a beautiful scene like that is really appropriate. Appreciate that it's private land and they don't want people walking up there, but really? Anyway, so my first thought, I'm going to head down to this little viewing platform there. Try and get one of the scenes I've seen with the tree trunk that's caught sort of in the fall. Now, if any of you have been following me for a while, you know that what I really teach, sorry, the pathway is quite tricky here, so I want to concentrate on where my feet are going, is intentional photography. And I often talk about what do you want the viewer to feel. And I know that causes a lot of you some problems. Certainly some of my mentoring clients struggle with that idea of what feeling do they get when they see a scene. And I tend to start thinking about that before I've even left home. And I had in mind the photograph I want to take, and the feeling I want to evoke is something that's resisting force, you know, that has strength and persistence. And that's why I'm particularly looking for something a little bit more intimate. Like I say, the tree trunk caught in the flow of the river, or maybe a rock, showing how solid and stable it is. So that's my aim for the photo, and I'm going to concentrate a lot on shutter speed, because that's going to be the key for me today. But what I really want to capture is not the typical very slow, long exposure, dreamy scene, but something that shows a bit of the power, but at the same time isn't an instantaneous freeze, because, you know, whatever it is that's been resisting nature has been there a long time. So I do want it to be a bit timeless. So it's going to be a delicate balance between showing force and showing stability. So I'm going to play around with shutter speeds. I'll come back in a minute and show you what I've got. Let's just have a look at the scene. You can see this tree trunk, all the water boiling down onto it. So I've got all set up. I have a 6-stop ND filter on, giving me exposure time of around about 2 seconds at f5.6, which seems to be giving me the kind of feeling that I want. Just slowing the water down a little bit, but still giving me that artistic look. So I'm going to try a few compositions here, and then we'll move on. So I came back to one of the locations I identified when I got up here. So this is where we're set up, and what I'm really interested in is there's rocks on the left-hand side. A few tree branches and rhododendrons just getting in the way on the right, but I framed in quite tightly, and I think just the little rhododendrons, I think that's what they are, might make an interesting addition to the composition. I've actually taken off my ND filter. I've still got a circular polarizer on, but I'm finding like a sixth of a second is giving me what I need. The other thing I've been doing, I've set my creative look on my camera to black and white, so I can see exactly what the contrast is like. And of course it's perfect today with very dark rocks behind and that white water streaming down. I'm going to move to another location a little bit further down, see what that gives me, and then I'll be pretty happy. I feel like I've got some good shots. Right, let's move on. This is my final setup, and actually I kind of reached the limit, this lens I've got. When I've got it at 240 millimeters, and I can only get as wide as f6.3, which wasn't giving me quite a fast enough shutter speed. So I just doubled my ISO, and I've been finding like somewhere around a 15th of a second is giving me just what I need. I'll go back to the car now, have a walk down. If I see anything on the way, I might try and get another shot, but still happy that I've got 2, possibly 3 good photos from today. I'm back in the studio, and firstly I wanted to say thank you for anybody who commented on my last video about the style of video. So as most of you requested, I'm going to review the photos that I took in the field in the same video. Now I want to preface what I'm going to say next with this. I'm 64 years old. I've been taking photos since I was 17, and I think these are 3 of the best waterfall photos I've ever taken. They're definitely going in my portfolio. Now, I'm not just saying that to impress you. I'm saying it because I think it matters. Not just to me, but for you also. Because if you're watching this channel, there's a good likelihood you're in the age gap of 45 to 60 plus. And maybe somewhere in the back of your mind, there's a quiet question you've never quite said out loud. Is it too late to do something that genuinely matters with my photography? And these 3 images are my answer to that. It's definitely not. There's a version of getting old that says, consolidate what you know, stay in your lane, don't risk looking foolish by trying something new, reaching beyond what you mastered. Now, I'm not interested in that version. I took up this black and white fine art photography journey to keep pushing myself, to keep proving that I could do more. And it's really rejuvenated my interest in photography again. It's got that spark back. Now these images push me not only to simplify the scene, but probably to look for scenes within the scenes, to look for tonal contrast, to look for photos that wouldn't be the cliché shot that everybody else was taking of Stockghyll Force. I might lose some of my younger viewers saying this, but I genuinely believe that in this third phase of our lives, when we finally have the time, the patience, and frankly the life experience to see rather than look, this is when the most creative, important work becomes possible. Not in spite of our age, but because of it. So let me talk you through the images and what I've done with them. So this first one was of the log that was caught in the stream. And as soon as I saw this on the back of the camera, I knew I'd got a good image. And that's a key point. What I'm not trying to do here is I'm trying to compose for black and white. And you can see now, I'll show you the shot straight out of camera. It still looks great in colour. I almost didn't feel like I needed to do any editing to it. And that's because I composed it for black and white. So I've got a great shot to start with. Don't try and take a bad shot and think, oh, I'll convert it to black and white, it'll be good in that. Now what I've actually done is I converted it to black and white in Silver Efex Pro. And I've then done some dodging and burning, particularly on the water, to try and bring out my feeling of what was going on in that image, to bring out this feeling of persistence. The other thing I noticed when I looked at this image, there are two branches that are off to the right hand side, and it looked to me like it was a lioness and a cub just beneath her. The kind of face shape of a lion or a big cat was there in the water, and I wanted to emphasize that a little bit too, so I've done that really just by dodging and burning. Let's move on to my second image. Now let me show you the version straight out camera. As I mentioned when I took this shot, there were quite a few branches and the three little rhododendrons. The feeling I was trying to create was one of persistence, of nature defying itself, and these three little rhododendron bushes were the bits I wanted to emphasize. So I did take out a lot of the little twigs, the little tiny trees, little branches that I felt were cluttering up the scene. Then I did the same thing. I converted that in Silver Efex Pro to black and white, and I did some additional dodging and burning on it. And now let's look at my final image. This was the one taken at the bottom of the waterfall. Again, I've done a very similar thing. If you look at the image straight out of camera, there is a little tree, a little branch that's sort of sticking out on the left-hand side, but it was catching the light. So I deliberately left that in and emphasized the light bits in it by just burning those in a bit. And with the rest of the image, I've done some more dodging and burning, trying to create a bit more detail, particularly in the streams of water. What I've been particularly proud of, in a very short space of time, I feel like I've actually created some portfolio-worthy images. They're not perfect, but they certainly represent where I am right now. I'm still reaching, I'm still learning, and I'm still capable of surprising myself. So if you want to make black and white images that feel like something rather than look like something, I do have a free ebook you can download. I put everything I know about it in how to create intentional black and white photos, and I'll leave a link in the description. It's not about settings, it's about learning to see in a way that's available to us all at any age, but maybe especially now. So go and get it, and then go and create something. I hope you've enjoyed that video. I'm going to continue with my black and white journey and improve my skills in the next video. So I look forward to seeing you in that one.